You're listening to the Family Discipleship Podcast, a podcast of training the church.
This is Adam Griffin, and I'm here with my co-hosts. First, Mrs. Cassie Bryant. Cassie, something you like to do with your friends that Eric would not be that into.
Oh, how do I pick? There's so many things. Going on a midnight taco run.
Because he would be asleep or he hates tacos?
He's asleep. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there have been nights where I've tapped him and be like, hey, my friend and I, we're going to go get tacos. And he's like, okay, bye. Shopping.
He's not into shopping at all?
Manicures.
Yeah. He puts the man in manicure.
Yeah, he does. No,
he doesn't. No. Oh, so you have a long list of things.
Oh, yeah.
Also here with Cassie and I today is my wife, Chelsea Griffin. Chelsea, how are you today?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Is there anything you like to do that I don't like to do?
With friends?
I would love it if you wanted to go one of those spa places with me that has all these different saunas and hot tubs.
Oh, they're co-ed places like that?
Yeah, there are. And people wear normal swimsuits, stuff like that. And
Good.
it's it's all about hydrotherapy and all that. And of course, my goal is just to cook myself, right? And you'd be in the cryo room the whole time.
Oh, freezing?
The cold room?
Oh, I don't think I'd enjoy the cryo room, but I don't know. Maybe. But you would like to do a spa day together.
That'd be fun if you liked it.
Okay. All right. I don't go near stuff like
Let's
that.
talk about things you like.
Oh, what's something I like that you don't like?
Old books.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but there's something
Old
I do
books,
with my
sitting
friends.
quietly in a dark room.
Eric does that too.
Oh my gosh.
It scares me.
Scares you?
They
Well, I
love
walk
it.
in and I'm like, oh, I didn't know you were in
You were already in here. The lights are off. He's just in there by himself.
Yep.
I love it. Well, tonight's episode, we're back on our marriage theme for the semester, and we're going to talk about our spouses' friendships, like things they do with friends, which, by the way, I do not sit in the dark with buddies. I may talk about...
Yeah, neither does Eric.
Yeah.
I
be an alone
I meant
thing.
sitting quietly alone in a dark room.
Yeah. But we're going to talk about friendships. There are things that I like to do that I think, for the most part, Chelsea likes to do. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. I don't have a lot of hobbies that involve other people. I have a lot of hobbies that are I will write, I will collect a book. Yeah, collect a pen.
Eric has a poetry club.
Does he really?
Guys, yeah, they burn the solo stove on the back porch and they read poetry. I think the goal is for them to write. Kinda, yeah.
Oh.
It's very classical.
Yeah.
He's really drank the Kool-Aid.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Where do those buddies come from? Are they all people that he works with?
Or
People
dads
from
at
church?
the school, or if there's friends at the church that are interested,
And they
you
sit
kind of
around
send
and
out the
read
invite.
poetry.
Yeah, talk about it.
Wow.
That's
cool.
awesome.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
Well, we are this season focusing on marriage. Tonight, we're going to talk a little bit about relationships that are outside our marriage, not extramarital, not affairs, but your buddies. Like who are your spouse's friends and how does that impact your marriage, whether or not they have friends and the quality of those friends? So just want to talk a little bit about friendships. I feel like, Chelsea, you did such a good job early in our marriage, like many things, of establishing the fact that you having girlfriends and having time with girlfriends was good for our marriage. That it would be a blessing to me and a blessing to our children, that you would also have time away from our children and away from your husband where you would be held accountable, where you would have fun, maybe even like we're talking about right now, maybe even doing something that maybe you like to do, but maybe your kids aren't old enough to do or wouldn't enjoy doing, your husband wouldn't enjoy doing, or no, those things. You have really established that well. Can you maybe start us off by telling us how can friendships be a blessing to a Christian marriage?
Well, I mean, our friendships really fill us up. They revive us and give us joy. So you come back to your family just feeling kind of restored sometimes. Honestly, just feeling happy, feeling loved, feeling understood. Adam knows, and that when I get on the phone with my very best friend, very little has to be said for me to laugh really hard. And Adam works really hard
to try to get Chelsea to laugh.
Yeah, to make a joke that makes me laugh.
It's nearly impossible.
Seems so unfair. I mean, my best friend, she'll just pick up the phone and say anything in a silly voice. I have no idea. And I just start laughing because I know that whatever she is doing on the other end of that phone, she's doing something funny. I know she is. And, but yeah, I think it's life-giving. And so why wouldn't we want that for our spouses? I'm very chatty. and I have a lot to say. So that needs to be divvied up among a lot of people. Yeah.
Well, I think it's addition by addition, right? It's like the more you get to chat, the more you want to chat because you love it. You're good at it.
Yeah. I love hanging out.
Yeah.
Not everybody can hang out as much as I can. So
Boy,
I
that's
need
true.
to have different people who want to hang out.
Are you an extrovert?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I don't think.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know if we talked about it. Maybe we have.
I have a high need for hanging out.
I'm the same way.
Really love a spontaneous hang. That
Yeah,
means a
it's
lot
why I
to
do
me.
this podcast.
Yeah.
I'd be
To hang
alone
out.
if I wasn't with you guys.
I'd be all alone.
So like, I'm
Yeah.
here.
That's funny. Yeah. Eric
No.
is probably already asleep at this point,
Yeah.
right?
No.
So you guys
David
are going-
just got home, but
Okay.
in
But
the
you guys
next
are going
30
out, you and Chelsea are going out for tacos after this?
Don't tease.
Okay.
In the kitchen.
In the kitchen?
Yeah.
Down the hall?
Yeah, no, the older I get, the more I do appreciate time by myself, and I can enjoy doing something by myself. But
Yeah.
I always tell people I have very high hangability. So sometimes people in our church will be like, well, I know you're busy, you have kids, you work, whatever.
Text me.
Yeah, and I'm like, try me.
Yeah. I'd love to fit you in.
I love to hang. You want to hit a ping pong ball? You want to go to the hot tub place, whatever. I like to chill.
Well, let's talk about another aspect of that. So our Christian marriage is blessed by you having friends because you enjoy having friends.
Yeah.
But it goes beyond that, I think.
Yeah.
Right? Isn't there's
Yeah.
a lot more to it than just like you have, that's self-deprecating in a way that's really not fair. Even if you say like you have a high word count and you have to take it somewhere else. Like I'm here for the chat. I'm here for the hang. I love being with you. And I love talking with you.
You get so sleepy.
But I do get sleepy, but it's not at you.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. It's not personal. I just get tired. Although when we were first married, it felt personal.
Oh,
Didn't
it did, yeah.
If I fell asleep during a conversation, it was like, how dare you?
Yeah.
But we got better now. You just understand we're different. Right? Yeah. Talk to me about what other aspect of you having Christian friends blesses our marriage, other than just the fact that you enjoy it.
My friends push me to Jesus. My friends push me towards my children, towards my husband. They help cultivate those affections. I don't think that that we need to exclusively have godly friends because we need to be ministering to somebody. We need to know somebody who doesn't know the Lord. We need to be befriending, coworkers and neighbors and things like that, and knowing all kinds of people. But my godly friends stir my affections for Christ, push me towards holiness. Sometimes probably feel an easier freedom about saying something in my life that needs to change. That could be more delicate if it came from you, especially if it was an attitude towards you or towards our children or towards, something in the marriage. I have friends that I can, I don't have to be afraid that if I present something to them, that they're going to push me towards unrighteousness.
Yeah, that's good. In fact, the opposite, right?
Yeah.
They're not going to drag you down. They're going to build you up.
Yeah.
And having a wife that's built up in the Lord is a blessing to our marriage, right? What about for processing things going on in our marriage? Do you feel like your friends are for that, with that, a blessing to us in that?
For sure.
Okay.
Yeah, none of them are going to, say that you're a bad man and to disrespect you or something like that.
Sure. And that's part of what we've already talked about in other episodes, that we assume the best each other. We speak well of each other.
Sure.
We're not complaining, things like that. Cassie, when you think about your female friendships, how is that a blessing to Eric? That you would have time where, not just because he doesn't want to go for tacos at midnight, but it's a blessing to him that you have good friends. Right?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I think, it's so interesting. I'll download the day with Eric. And then if I do get girlfriend time after, it's so interesting how my perception or even the day is made better, or I come back with some clarity. And sometimes it's just I can't hear it maybe from Eric. Like maybe sometimes he chooses not to share. He just knows better. And he knows especially if I'm getting some girlfriend time, that it's like, they're going to point that out to her. I don't need to be the one to point that out to her. But they're my truth tellers. So they're going to tell me when the fruit is a little stinky, or we need to throw it away. Like, hey, the fruit of your life, the fruit of your day kind of looks bad today. Like maybe we need to pull the rotten fruit and toss it. And does that make sense?
Kind
of like if
do you
you're
receive
bearing
that well from your friends?
Oh, I do. I think sometimes better from my friends
than from Eric.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe
I've got
it's
a
a
couple
blessing.
friends who are like Team Bryant, not Team Cassie.
Yeah.
That's good.
They're they know I'm like, and I come to them when I'm like, I need help seeing this, because right now all I can see is he is wrong and I'm right. So help me see what I need to own. Kind of that question we've been answering. Like, what's my part? How do I extend the olive branch here? Because I know it can't be true. Eric's a good man.
Yeah.
And like, we want this to work, but there are those moments in your marriage where you just can't see clearly. And you really do need the third party. Like, you need the kind of mediator, the friend, to be like, yeah, like, can't you see that this is or they can see the habits over time, or like the patterns. Like, oh, remember you had the same argument a couple years ago about this kid, and now here it is again. And they're just good at that.
That's the beauty right there of that long-term faithfulness of just hanging in there, because we know friendship seasons go kind of up and down.
Yeah.
But I want to quote Adam and I love is, you can't make old friends.
Yes.
Right. The only way to have an old friend is to stick it out.
Forge it. Time.
Right.
Yep.
Is to play that long game. But that's the beauty of a long-term friendship right there, is that someone can remember this. They can see the root of it. They're like, well, doesn't that relate to your childhood? You know, they know these things about you. And go,
didn't you say your dad did that? Maybe that bugs you.
Yeah.
About because your dad or your.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a blessing. And Eric's friends are a blessing to me. I love Eric's friends. There have been times where Eric's friends have spoken some truth that have just been so helpful. And it's because either I couldn't see it, I'm like, oh, wow, I didn't even think about that. But they could see it because they're men, and because they know the burdens he bears differently than I understand the burdens that he bears of like providing or, you know, whatever it is. And so friendships are awesome.
Yeah. I love Adam's friends
10 to 10
too.
recommend.
Get a friend.
Get a friend. You need a friend? Text Chelsea.
You guys are demonstrating good friendship right now.
I'm available.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is good.
No, I feel so cared for by Adam's friends because they love Adam so much, and he loves me. So then they love me and they care about me. In our process to plant a church, someone asked, one of the things in one of our little interviews was kind of, if Adam's kind of going astray in some way, like, what are you going to do?
Call his friends.
And I was so quick to be able to name the people that if I call them and I am in distress, I am sad, I am worried, like, they are going to be like freaking Ghostbusters, you know, like on call, coming right away. To surround him, to build him up, to keep him on track. And that is such a blessing, because Adam and I have counseled many couples that will share something and we'll say, who else knows this? And they just, with tears in their eyes, say, no one.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so lonely.
It's so lonely. It's so hard. But yeah, I know that if we were dealing with something hard where I thought Adam needed to be admonished in some way, I know who I could go to that loves him, that would so carefully speak the truth to him.
That's good. Cassie, I wanted to point out too, the description you gave of not only being willing but wanting to hear from your friends, like, where am I wrong in this? That's some really great humility. I don't know that that's super common, to be able to say like, hey, we're going to hang, but also want to have a real talk. And during that real talk, I am open to you pointing out where I'm wrong.
You know, you'll love this, but that started when, I don't know if you remember this, but we had a girl live with us who was sent as a missionary by the church when we worked together. And she was single. She was going on to the medical mission field, and she lived with us. And man, she could see, it was our first couple of years of marriage, actually. And so we would have conflict. And I just remember being, I think I probably threw her in. I was kind of like, well, what do you think? Thinking she was going to side with me.
Oh, for sure.
And then she was like, I think you're being really mean about it. Or like, I think you're not, like the way it's not respectful. And it was so humbling. And it was such a good reminder that God has given us friends, even if in different seasons. It doesn't even need to be a married friend. Like, she was single, but could still see.
Yeah.
That's not how we treat each other. That's not how relationships flourish. And so like, we need friends even from different seasons to kind of like, we can offer so much to each other, you know, married, singles, kids, no kids, like all the things. Like, friendships don't have to be the same life stage, same season of life to be meaningful.
Why do you think we can hear it from a friend in a way you couldn't hear it from your spouse? Like, why is it if a friend said to you, hey, I think the tone you took was inappropriate. I think the decision you're forcing here, not great. And you'd be like, man, that's a point I need to consider. But if your spouse said the exact same thing, it'd be a little bit more like, how dare you?
I think in our marriage, I think we want to impress each other. And there's something that feels really hard about
like
actually
it's vulnerable and fragile.
Hearing from the other person, like, I'm unimpressed with what you've done, or like, I don't approve of what you've done. And then, because it's not that I think that like your acceptance of me is undulating. I don't.
Ooh.
And at the same time, I still like, I want you to be happy with everything I've done. And so you saying it, I think, can create just like an instant like defensive response that's not great. Also, I think a friend would just say it kind of playfully, honestly. I don't know. That works for me sometimes, is when my friends can kind of like poke a little bit of fun at like, do you hear what you just did there? Did you see that? Is that okay? and I'm like, yeah, I guess it's not, in a way that it's just feels serious between a husband and wife. I don't know. It just
Yeah, I
feels
think
like
that's
too
where I
much.
feel.
The
I don't know if I
intimacy.
feel like it's impressing, although I see your point. I think to me, it feels like the stakes are higher.
Yeah.
Like when you say something about me, it feels like there's more on the line, right? If a friend says something to me, well, our friendship could be on the line if I really, truly disagree. It doesn't feel like the stakes are that high. Like they could say that with impunity and know that they're going to walk away from this conversation. We're still going to love each other. It feels like, man, if a spouse says that and it doesn't go well, it's like, gosh, this is the next how many days and weeks of my life that things are harder. And I think part of the reason a lot of times a husband can hear it better from his buddies or a wife can hear it better from her friends is because if a husband were to say it, it sounds more like a criticism and an insult than it does help, advice, or wisdom.
Like hurts her feelings.
Yes.
Where it feels like the friends are just telling you like, hey, go fix that.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like they're making a judgment about you as a person long term, saying you're such a this or that.
Right.
They're just like, she's not saying you're a bad wife, the lady who's at your house. She just said, well, that was a disrespectful thing to say, and then I feel like we can just hear that isolated thing and say, yeah, it was. I'll apologize.
Yeah.
Well, and because the beef isn't with her, it doesn't feel as personal.
Yeah.
It's like she's looking at it from the outside more objectively.
Totally. Yeah.
Where it's harder, especially if there's conflict. It's like, well, we're obviously both more invested in this differently than if we were, on the outside of it.
You're exactly right. And it's not that we would always take it easy from a friend either. I shouldn't say like that's the way it's always going to be. Because the truth is like when our spouse has perspective, we went to them with like an issue with a friend or a coworker. Our spouse might say, well, did you say it like this? Or did this happen? And you might feel like that's an accusation, but in humility, you might also say, you know what, that's a really good point. And it depends on maybe where our heart's at with each other and where our heart's at with a situation. But I think one of the ways that you guys are pointing out that a friendship can be a blessing to a marriage is there's some sanctification that we may receive from a friend that it's harder to hear from our spouse. An example we might give, if you went to another relationship, I would say, if a stranger got in my car and said, my car is messy, I would say, oh yeah, it's kind of messy. If my kid got in the car and said, your car's kind of messy, I'd be like, well, yeah, you made it. The emotion's different. And if maybe if my parents got in the car and said, your car is messy, it would feel like character assassination, right? It would feel like
I'm
an
in trouble.
accusation. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I've been labeled as a slob. There's just a different attachment we make to different people's feedback. And having friends gives us another way to receive from the Lord something that may be true of us that we're not hearing in other places, right?
Well, I believe they want the best.
That's
for
good.
me,
if they are your friend.
Where it's
they
like
want what's
sometimes I feel like, especially like me, probably more so than even Eric, is like, I really just want my way. I don't want what's best for us or maybe for you in this moment because I'm in my sin or I'm in my flesh. But like my friend can say like, I know that their perspective is they want what's best. They're not going to pit Eric against me or me against him.
Yeah. So I know both of you women have really good godly friends. It's great. And I think you guys have both testified that your husbands have good godly friends that you trust. Praise God. I think some of the women and men listening will go, hey, my spouse's friends are not great. My spouse's friends are actually part of the problem. They're not sitting around talking about Jesus. They're not calling each other out. They're not sanctifying. It's when my husband goes out with his buddies, they're going to the strip club. It's when my husband goes out with his buddies, they're talking poorly about me. What would you say to, maybe in particular, what would you say to the woman who says, hey, my spouse's friends are not a blessing to my marriage?
It's time to pray.
Yeah.
It's time to pray. It's
That's
time
really
to fast. It's time to really plead with the Lord here.
Yeah. Where can they find something different, something better?
The church. Hopefully these aren't all friends at the church. But I mean,
I hope not.
I mean, hopefully I would say, does your church have any method of community that you can get into where you can start surrounding yourselves with people that would call you to the better way?
Yeah.
Yeah. And just for conviction in that man's heart, to go, I need better friends.
Right.
And the truth is, like, I'd rather be really lonely than say, well, these are the only friends I have, so I'm just going to walk in sin and in total unrighteousness because I need some people to hang with. And I would hope that would be the conviction for my husband, is that even if these are the only friends I have right now, I'm not going to walk in a way that dishonors God.
That's good. Yeah, the scripture that comes to mind for me is when Jesus talks about sin and he talks about how serious it is. He says, if your hand were to cause you to do it, we'd cut off your hand. And if your eye was causing you to sin, we'd pluck out your eye. And I think if truly a friendship is what's driving you towards sin, it's worth it to say, we don't need to be friends anymore. We don't need that. And if it's ultimatum time, I don't know. I'm not saying like, here's how you handle this. but your marriage is worth it. To say it's more important that we have this marriage and we work through this as parents, as husband and wife, than that you keep getting to hang out with that buddy or that girl. I've had people before who've like a woman who's had an affair with a man she works with, and she refuses to change jobs because she's like, but the job is so good. Well, the job is worth giving up for your marriage. Or a man who's going, well, my buddies, I've known these guys since middle school. They know me like nobody else. And so I'm not willing to give up those friendships for my spouse. Well, I'm asking you to give them up for your God.
Yeah.
To say like, if you love God with all your heart, soul, and mind, and these friendships are not a place where you are a light in a dark place, it's where you're hiding your light under a bush. Oh no. And pretending that this is not true of you, that's a problem. And if that's not the case, then I might question even like, are you actually following Jesus?
Right.
Yeah.
And that is a hard marriage to be in, which is not the topic for tonight, but certainly that kind of spiritual singleness when you're in a marriage, but it feels like you're alone in following Christ is so hard. And that's part of the reason, similar to the way we've talked about marriage, the reason it hurts so much is because good friendship is so good.
Yeah.
A good friendship is something that's worth celebrating. So a lack of it is so grievous, is so ugly. One of the other things sometimes we'll talk about, Chelsea, I don't know what this looks like for you, Cassie, but family friends, like the kind of friends that you're like, we like to get our whole family together. Do you guys have something like that? What does that look like for the Bryant family?
We have several of those. We're
Lucky.
really blessed. I know. Our family group, which is
Can we
what
join it? Can we be in it? Can we come now?
Sure.
That's what this is, passive aggressive. I just want to get to this point where we say, can we go on vacation with the Bryant?
I'm like hoping all our girls marry all your boys, and that way we can just be in-laws.
What a
It'd be
good
so
idea.
fun. It'd
be so fun.
Let's build
Holidays.
a bunker. I mean, keep going.
Okay. No, we've got our family group, which is our like a home group, I guess. We call it family group
Like a
because
small
the kids
group
are
at church.
involved. Yeah. So there's a few families in that, and it's really fun. We get together, we disciple the kids together, we feed each other. So like one family hosts and we hang out. So, I mean, it's both families we've traveled with, which has been great. It's hard to find people that travel like you do.
Yeah.
And so that's been a gift. We have another family from the school that we actually go to different churches, but we fall break together every year.
Oh, that's sweet.
And I know. And the wife is so good with traditions and like asking intentional questions every year. Like, okay, let's like think about this as a milestone and let's look back at what we did last year and how much we've grown this year. And they have 3 kids, and it's just really fun to get to hang out with them. And
do the husbands hang and the wives hang and the
they
kids
do.
hang?
And
Or is
then
it
the
kinda
couples go on
all-together time?
dates. We do like a date night, and one couple watches all the kids and feeds the kids.
Oh, that's
And
cool.
then one night we'll keep all the kids while they go on the date night. And then one night the girls might go do something and then the guys go do something. We just kind of hang out and the kids all get along, which is a gift. We've had conflict. It's not perfect. There's been conflict even on the trips with the kids that we've had to help, diffuse. But again, that's a teachable moment. That's a disciple moment. But I think the shared values helps because we're working from a similar foundation. So yeah, it's a huge gift.
Chelsea, when you think about the Griffin household, how has our marriage, but also like our family discipleship, our spiritual leadership benefited from having family friends, like whole families that we get time together and enjoy?
Oh, the thing I love the most is our kids being able to talk to adults in another family that care about them, ask them questions, and kind of steer them in a way that we would too, but it's someone other than mom and dad.
It's good.
I just want there to be like this extension of feeling known, cared for, but also like these people that I know that they would respond. If my kid were to share a problem, just being able to know like, oh, that friend is she's actually going to minister to my son.
Yeah, that's good.
That man's going to encourage my son. We got to see that particularly this year for Oscar's 13th birthday, inviting a lot of people to like a rite of passage thing. It was so meaningful to me.
So
to
good.
me, I hope it was meaningful to our son. But as a grown woman, just going like, man, he has no idea how special it is.
Yeah.
That there are friends in our life that care about him as a person. He's not a little kid. He's becoming a man and they're speaking into him. And that is so meaningful to me.
Right.
So I try to like also like know other people's kids and try to talk to them and just be another adult in their life.
Right. Thinking particular. You're probably thinking of this, some of the same people, but at our rite of passage ceremony, I remember asking Oscar afterwards, like, who do you think talked the longest? And he goes, oh, Victor Boutros for sure talked the longest. And he said, and it was my favorite. Victor knows our son really well. Victor, by the way, is the CEO of the Human Trafficking Institute. If you want to be part of ending slavery around the world, get involved, fund it. It's incredible. He's a great man. We love their family. And Oscar's friends with his son. And Victor came to the 13th birthday and just is such a role model. But watching him look our son in the eye and talk to him about, what C.S. Lewis has called him to, what God has called him to, and what it's going to look like going forward was so meaningful.
Yeah.
And then I think so if that's Oscar's birthday, I think about Oscar's baptism.
Yeah.
And I think about Matt Attaway, one of our elders at our church and a dear friend. I just love the Attaways. But calling attention to the whole room to like call up Oscar. He bought him a cookie cake and just celebrated him really well. And it wasn't something where we were like, hey, Matt, could you think about Oscar for a minute? Could you think about our kids for a second? Like, he's not his kid, but Matt was just trying to be creative, think about what would it be like. And to see other adults who care about our kids is really beautiful. I also think you and me having friends there is a huge blessing to our marriage.
Yeah.
When we hang out with somebody like the Boutrosses or the Attaways or, any number of other people we've had in home group over the years and at church over the years. Or Cassie, you may know this, but the Elafrost family that we used to work together at Northway with, we do a fairly regular annual like camping trip where we take our kids out all together. They have 2 boys and a girl. We have 3 boys. Sweet Addie goes anyway. She's so patient with all our boys. This last year we did that with the Reeds and the Elafrosses, and it was so great.
Yeah.
And it is a big blessing to my marriage to sit down with other men and talk about how we're following Jesus together.
I love that.
And I'll tell you what, that is not something I grew up around.
Yeah.
But Victor's another good example. If I can brag on Victor again, I know Virginia listens on occasion, so Virginia, shout out if you're listening. But your husband, Victor, I don't know that I've ever been on vacation with a family where a man asked me, hey, in the morning, do you want to pray together? And Victor and I just, each morning, we'd get up, we'd drink coffee together. He would make French press coffee. We'd listen to a podcast about praying. It would prompt us to prayer. We would pray, and then we'd talk about what we're praying about. And this is vacation. It wasn't like mandatory spiritual. It was like, I'm being discipled. He's being just ministered to. And I loved it. And I'll tell you, I think it blesses our marriage to have friends that love Jesus like that.
Yeah, big time.
I'm a better man because I'm around better men.
And I want our kids to have hope for adult friendship.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, to see a healthy version
to see that it's
huge.
healthy and fun and life-giving.
Yeah.
I mean, growing up, my parents had friends over and stuff sometimes, but I don't know. I just didn't always have a great window into all of that sometimes. But I want to show our kids that like in the family of God, there is a lot of love available to you.
Yeah.
We know that so many people in our culture, right? We have a loneliness pandemic, a depression, anxiety pandemic, but there is so much love within the family of God.
Even last night, or I guess maybe the question came to you this morning. I don't know. I fell asleep at 8:00 like normal, but Chelsea and I went on a double date last night with Steagall's. And we went to the Saltgrass Steakhouse and talked about, human dignity. We had serious talks about abortion. We had a long conversation about our kids, where things are going. And then when we got home, Chelsea, I don't know, was it last night or this morning? Our kids are asking you questions about our double date.
Yeah.
Asking about how that went.
Yeah,
what is that like?
Yeah, they were like, what are they like out on
That's
a
so
date?
fun.
They're like, are they silly? Are they serious? And it was really fun.
They're so curious.
Yeah.
Like, what do y'all do? What do you talk about?
Yeah. And I really enjoyed getting to just catch them up and say, these are some of the things we talked about. It was really fun.
You know what? Another example is coming to mind right now. I know we're saying a lot of names of people, but this is really blessing me. I hope it's blessing our listeners to know we have like real people in our life. But a couple of weeks ago, Oscar and I were on our drive back from his basketball practice, which is about 30 minutes away from our house. And I got a call from Matt Attaway and took the call on the Bluetooth or whatever it is in our car that you hear it over speakerphone. I told him, hey, Oscar's in the car right now. And Matt said, hey, Oscar, and Matt said, Adam, I'm just calling to check in. I know you had a really hard meeting, which I had. And he wanted to know how I was doing, wanted to check in and just pray for me and love on me, which is a normal thing for Matt. He's a very godly and good friend. And then when we got off the phone, I got a chance to talk to Oscar about friendship. And I said, Oscar, do you think you have any friends that if they knew you had a hard day, they would check in with you? And he said, no, that's just an adult thing.
Oh.
And I said, oh, brother, do you think you could be that kind of friend for somebody? Don't you think you're capable of that?
Yeah.
And it gave us a real chance to talk about empathy and how empathy is not something and compassion is not something that we like. While it grows in us, it's not something that is reserved for some form of adulthood that we haven't crossed a line into yet.
Yeah.
And so it's a good example of how I felt like I was able to disciple my son through godly friendship.
Yeah.
Right? Like because we have friendships, not just our marriage, I was able to talk to him about what it looks like to be a friend and hopefully demonstrate for him like how that's good for our marriage.
Yeah.
To bring us back to the topic at hand, like how this blesses Chelsea that have these friends. When I have struggled or when we've got major decisions, Chelsea has at times invited those men to our house to say, hey, will you come and talk me through this and talk about what this means for Adam, whether it's elders or whether it's pastors or, having Pastor Steve Harden in our life and having somebody we can call has been a blessing. Cassie, in your marriage, have you guys created space? Like, is it intentional where you guys create space for friendship, or is it more like informal? Like, hey, it's spontaneous.
It feels a little more spontaneous. I think because I'm so extroverted, it kind of was a prerequisite when we got married. Like, he knew, like, she's going to have a lot of girlfriends and she's going to have friends over and she's going to make plans. It also helped that he was a student taking night classes because that like helped me maintain. I know a lot of my friends in their 20s felt like they lost their friends when they got married.
Yeah.
It was kind of like, oh, I never see them anymore. And I think because of his schedule with classes, it carved out nights automatically where I could still maintain a lot of those friendships, which was helpful. But then, I mean, our community group is intentional in terms of the rhythms of that family group that meets and getting together with the guys and the girls. But outside of that, I think it happens more natural for me. I think that, I don't know if this is a guy thing. I think he's less inclined to get something on this calendar that's super regular. Sometimes I have to be like, hey, remember your friend has that thing going on. And he's so present to the moment. He's a hard time really thinking past it. And so, but so he's got a standing coffee with a couple guys, but for the most part, it's like, one-off things that come up or, hey, the guys are going out tonight to watch the football game. Like English
to read
football.
Poetry. Okay.
Soccer.
Like soccer. Yeah.
I've heard of
They
it.
still call it,
In ours, Chelsea's got a lot of different variations of friendship. You got your college friends, you've got church friends, you've got people around you for different reasons. You got your accountability friends that are like, hey, we are going to schedule a time to sit down and talk about Jesus. And others that are like maybe more informal hangs, right? We have our kind of not home group that we kind of hang out with that are friendships. But like with some of my friends, like Kyle Worley, who Kyle from Knowing Faith. Kyle's one of my dearest friends. I love Kyle. But we don't hang unless we schedule time because we don't otherwise cross paths, right? He's a pastor at a different church. Yeah. So, and that church is not hyper local to us. It's a few minutes away. And so he texted me this week, hey, when can we hang again? Let's do it. But we'll text, we'll call, we'll even email a little bit and we'll try to keep things going. But it is one of those friendships you just jump right back into. Chelsea, when you think about the formality or informality, if a couple is listening right now, a husband or a wife is going, I want to have time for friends. Why is it important? Like think about with the conversation we had this morning with this MOPS group at a local church about whether or not it's really formal the way you schedule time to be away from your spouse with friends. If a spouse is feeling kind of sensitive about that, why are you trying to get away from me? Or like, how would you encourage a couple to think about, it's okay to build this time in, to carve this time out for friendship? And how would you recommend they do that?
I'd love to hear your answer to that. But yeah, I think we've got to remind each other that as husband and wife, we're not meant to like fulfill one another's every single need,
Right.
There's a healthy need there for friendship. And I think none of us need just one friend. We need a bunch of friends. And so it's not an insult to your marriage to say like, I'm going to enjoy time with somebody else. I know there's times I've been like that in our marriage where I felt like something else you're doing means it's against me. But that's a perspective problem that I have.
It's not assuming the best, right?
Yeah, it's not assuming the best. And it's really like a kind of me at the center type perspective. That's kind of, what does this mean for me? It means he doesn't want to be with me or stuff like that. It's really unhelpful.
Well, and don't all these things have a threshold where at some point you would say it can be a problem?
Sure.
Right? If you're like, hey, every Thursday and every Tuesday and Sunday afternoons and instead of church, and like sort of go, hey, there's a threshold at which we would go, actually, this friendship is impairing our marriage.
Yeah.
Or the way you schedule yourself is impairing our ability to get time together.
Yeah.
And the same thing, you would say maybe there's a threshold of holiness where we'd say, I don't like the activity you guys have chosen to do together or the way you guys talk around each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cassie, you're church worker. You're a wise one here. What role do you think a local church can, maybe should, play in providing community for a marriage? And saying, like, we always say at Eastside, like, we love home group, we love community. It is not a promise that we are providing you with best friends. We are trying to help you be discipled, be known, know others, hold each other accountable, study the Bible together. And if friendship grows out of that, praise the Lord. I hope that you have tons of friends at your church. But what role, when you think about your local church, and we're kind of saying, oh, this spouse maybe doesn't have good friends. Well, hopefully at the local church, when you think about if somebody came to Northway and they said, hey, I need good friends.
Yeah.
What role does Northway play in that? What role does the local church play?
I mean, I think that friends are forged over time. And oh man, there's a whole clip someone just sent me about adult friendships. And I think you have to clock like 72 hours with a friend.
In a row?
No.
Okay, totally.
It's like,
Over
that's
time.
easy.
Well, I
need a
agree.
weekend.
Yeah. Yeah. No, but 72 hours of being together in a space. But think about how many weeks of a men's Bible class that is for someone's husband. It takes time to build that kind of friendship with those group of guys, studying God's word, because the primary objective in that space is going to be to study God's word. And then again, if friendship comes out of that, that's beautiful. Same with a community group. If the primary objective is the spiritual disciplines or accountability, confession, contending for one another. I mean, yes, hopefully friendship comes out of that, but it's just going to take time. So to expect, I think part of what's so hard about adult friendships is that your childhood centers around friendship, and then you get to college and you live essentially with your friends.
So fun.
It's so fun. And then you get to your 20s and it's like totally different. You have jobs and you're maybe work with people you don't want to be friends with, but you're spending 40 hours a week with them.
Right.
So it's just such a different thing to navigate. And so I think be patient. I would say be patient with adult friendships and know that it's going to take initiation, intentionality, probably like learning hobbies or preferences, or maybe like sharing some, it might just not happen instantly.
Some things in common.
But as far as the church goes, I think the church fosters environments where friendship can grow, but the church is not going to, and I don't think should, be responsible for your friendships.
It's a weird thing where we wouldn't want the church to maybe, in our churches at least, to have arranged marriages, but there's kind of an enforced, but you should have arranged friendships. There are some people that come in and go, I'm going to need friends for my kids here. I'm going to need friends for me. And we're going to need friends, a family friend. We're going to need couple friends. I think one of the big issues we have with friendship, I've actually talked to a lot of men about this, is not so much that there's not great men out there to be friends with. It's that we are so easily discontent with who is our friend.
Yeah.
Like this doesn't scratch this itch. This doesn't meet that need. I'm really into
Our expectations
fantasy minor league hockey, and he likes, college football. And you go, okay, do you have to have everything in common? He's got to think just like you. One of the things, the Bible doesn't talk a ton about making friends and keeping friends, but the Bible does talk a lot about how your spiritual life is not something you do by yourself. Mm-hmm. It's not just, here's my spiritual life. I sit with my Bible. I sit with a cup of coffee, and that's my spiritual life. And then there's my real life, my other life, my coworker life. No, it actually paints this picture of where in community, you are discipling one another, blessing one another, challenging one another, sanctifying one another.
All the one another's.
And it doesn't always fit this romantic idea of best friendship.
Yeah.
Where you're like, oh, we just finish each other's sentences and we laugh so hard and we just have everything in common. Our families want to go on vacation together. That is not promised. Right. That is a blessing. I love it. But what is promised is that there is other people around you who would bless you by maturing you, sanctifying you, and you could look around and say, who could I be? Who could I be that for? Like, who could I disciple? Who could I mentor? Who could I bless? And I know at some point, maybe we could even talk about family discipleship, either in this marriage season or in another one, about who's discipling and has discipled us. And how now, other than our kids, who else are we discipling, pouring into? Even today, Cassie, our brand new kids minister, Dakota, she's awesome. She came up to me so excited, telling me you're going to take her out for lunch, or maybe she's taking you out. I don't know who's paying. I shouldn't assume that.
One of our churches.
But that you guys, my tithe dollars. One of us is taking out the other. She's so excited to get time with you.
I'm excited to get time.
And I'm excited for that too. You're going to be a blessing. I told her, Cassie's going to be such a blessing to you, and you're going to be such a blessing to Cassie. But that is, in one sense, a version of what we're talking about in friendship. It doesn't have to be, and we get lunch together every week from now on, every Tuesday. It's at noon. It's like, no, this is a great version of friendship. Build a small, Chelsea and I saw a lead pastor today that I love. We don't text all the time. We text on like holidays or some random days. But we got to go see his office, go hang out for a minute with him. And that's a sweet friendship. We're not best friends. We're not like pen pals or something like that. But I'm blessed by it. Yeah, I'm encouraged.
I think we've had two guests on that have written books on friendship.
Justin Whitmell wrote "Made for People."
Yeah,
so
and Kelly Needham wrote "Friendish."
Oh yeah, that's right.
So we have two great books on
Yeah.
friendships. But go ahead and talk about Justin. Sorry.
Oh yeah, I just read a little bit of it recently. Adam and I both have a Kindle, but I've never bought a book for the Kindle. I can just look and see what's in our library, and so I just read some one day. And
So it's like epic fantasy or some Christian books.
Yeah.
You chose the Christian book for some
Is it made
reason.
for people? I was like, that sounds good. I'm not a huge reader, so but anyways, it was really good. But I also kind of noted someone could read this book and start to feel a little sorry for themselves. You know, because he's
Because
described.
he's got great friendships.
He has great
Right.
friendships.
Yeah.
And we know that those take time. They take time and effort. So then all of a sudden, if you hear about the depth of it, of someone else's friendships, you're like, whoa, you start to feel behind.
Or you covet.
Yeah.
Right.
Behind, covetous, you feel lonely. There's a comparison. I really want to encourage our listeners to say, look at the friends you've got and think about how you can be a blessing to them.
Move towards
Amen.
them. Yeah.
Yeah. Move
Be a delight
towards them.
to be
That's
a
right.
friend.
That's
right?
Kelly's book called Friendish. It's about kind of thinking about the friendships you have and how you can be the friend you wish you had.
Yeah.
So where you feel the void,
Yeah.
like if you wish you had friends that called when you were sick or that brought you a meal, be the friend that calls when someone is
Yeah.
sick and bring them a
Yes.
meal.
Yeah.
Not so
No.
that you'd receive something, not so
No,
that somebody
no.
owes you something.
It's not, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like a lever you're trying to pull. It's more just like be that friend and then trust in the friendship that we have in Jesus. Our needs are met. And so it's out of an overflow of friendship with Jesus and that relationship
Amen.
that we get to be the friend we wish we had.
Yeah.
And then hope that over time you're forging those friendships with
Right.
people.
But yeah, God forbid you sit around and say, yeah, no one is this kind of friend to me. And then let it be true of you that you're not either.
Right.
Pour in, and not everything's going to get the return you hope for necessarily, but gosh, don't do nothing.
Right.
You know, there's no way that's going to produce the fruit you're hoping for.
And something
There's
else
no way.
that's beautiful about community, I think, in the church is that you look up one day and you find yourself friends with people that you maybe were unlikely friends. You would not have
Totally.
picked
For
them
sure.
Yes.
3 years ago out of a lineup of friends. You're like, that's the one I want.
Yeah.
But over time, whether it's serving in a ministry together, you're like, this is my friend. And you know what you have that unity in Christ, and then you have the unity in the church, and then that's enough of a foundation to build on. You don't have to have all the same hobbies. So I think the show Friends probably ruined us.
Yeah, in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Probably.
But it's like unrealistic adult friendships, you know?
Yeah, there's what's that
And
movie with
casual
Paul?
sex.
Yeah, that
Sure,
also
yes,
ruined
that
us.
too.
Oh, in that show? Yeah. What's that movie with Paul Rudd?
Oh,
It's also
I Love You,
inappropriate,
Man.
I think.
Yeah,
I
that
Love You,
movie is
Man.
not appropriate.
I was like, Ant-Man?
no.
But it's based on
called
that
I Love
concept
You,
of
Man.
like how male friendship is so difficult. And there is a lot of research out there right now about how male friendship is so difficult. But again, I think a big part of it is not easily satisfied. Like I need a perfect friend. If I'm introverted, I need a guy who also likes to sit alone in the dark and we won't talk. You know, like if I love poetry, where do I find the guy who likes the exact poetry I like? But we are not easily satisfied
Right.
in friendship. And it's very similar to the way people think about romance. And so I think if we kind of, similar to the way we might ask a friend who is too high maintenance and they were never dating because their expectations were too high, we might have to do the same thing with some friendships and say, hey, let's find a godly way of doing this unselfishly. At the same time, there are some friendships to walk away from too. I think in summary for this episode, I would say one of the great things for a marriage, and which has a huge impact on the way you disciple your kids and the way you lead your family, is creating space for relationships that are outside your immediate family that will bless your immediate family because you're in them. So because they're sanctifying, because they're fun, because they demonstrate maybe like something sanctifying to you in the sense of like it's challenging, it's caring, or people that just will bear your burdens with you. So that when things are hard, oftentimes when I'm officiating a wedding, I ask the groom and the bride to consider the fact that these groomsmen and bridesmaids would be so honored if when their marriage got hard, this groom and bride would still turn to these people and say, hey, can you help me? Can you carry me through this? Because it's not that I'm going to turn away from my spouse. It's that I'm also going to invite in these other people who care about us too. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, thanks for listening, friends. If you think it's as important as we do to disciple our families, please help us out by giving us a great review wherever you listen to podcasts. You can visit one of our sponsors and share this episode with one of your friends. If you want to keep up with us or join the conversation, you can find us at familydiscipleship.com or follow the Family Discipleship Podcast on Instagram and Facebook. We love you, listeners, and we will be back with a brand new episode next week.